I overheard my wife call me a stepping stone. She planned to drain me dry, but I turned her scheme into her downfall. I am 34, and I never thought that something as ordinary as setting the dinner table would end up changing my life forever. That night, we were hosting my in-laws' 40th anniversary at our home. I wanted everything to be perfect. The dining room looked like a scene from a magazine. The crystal glasses reflected the light beautifully. The china sparkled against the wooden table, and fresh flowers from our garden filled the room with a warm and welcoming scent. My wife had been planning the event for weeks, making sure every little detail was flawless for her parents. I spent my whole afternoon cooking their favorite meals, while she focused on decorations and guest arrangements. The house was full of life, relatives arriving one after another, luggage in the hallways, laughter coming from every room. Her parents were staying in the master guest room. Her younger sister had flown in from California, and other relatives filled the rest of the bedrooms. It was exhausting, but it also felt nice to be part of something that brought everyone together. While I was fixing the last details on the table, I realized I had forgotten to bring down the cloth napkins. They were kept in the linen closet upstairs, right next to the room where my wife's sister was staying. I went up, not thinking of anything except napkins. But as I passed the guest room, I heard voices from inside. It was my wife and her sister, talking in low tones. Something about the way they whispered made me stop. I should have walked away, but what I heard next froze me to the spot. My wife's voice was calm, almost cold, when she said, "He's just a stepping stone. Once the papers are filed, I'm set for life." And then came her sister's reply, almost cheerful, "Smart. Clean him out before he catches on." I felt like my body turned to stone. My hand was still reaching for the door handle, but I couldn't move. My heart was pounding so hard I thought they might hear it from inside. My wife, the woman I had been married to for 7 years, the one I had built a business with, bought a home with, and trusted with my entire future, was talking about me like I was nothing more than a temporary obstacle. She was planning to destroy me financially, and her own sister was encouraging it. The conversation continued, and each word cut deeper. They spoke about timing, how the papers would be served right after the holidays to hit me at my weakest moment. My wife mentioned that she had already collected evidence and documents to strengthen her case. Bank statements, business records, property deeds, even photos of belongings she planned to claim as her own. Her sister congratulated her for being so patient, saying it was smart to wait until my business had its best year before striking. They talked about the house, the vacation property, my retirement accounts, all of it. In her mind, everything I had ever worked for was hers to take. I stepped back from that door as quietly as I could, my legs shaking like they could give out any second. The hallway suddenly felt too tight, too hot, like the walls were closing in on me. I went back downstairs, completely forgetting about the napkins. From that moment on, the evening felt like a strange dream I was trapped inside. The guests arrived, one after another. Smiles, hugs, laughter, compliments about how beautiful the house looked. My wife played the role of perfect hostess without missing a beat. She kept her arm linked through mine, introducing me to relatives as her wonderful husband who made all of this possible. During dinner, her father gave a heartfelt toast about love and commitment, about building a life together and standing by each other no matter what. My wife squeezed my hand and smiled at me like we were still in love. Her sister raised her glass and spoke about finding the right partner to build a life with. I nodded, I smiled, I poured wine, and I laughed at jokes. On the outside, I looked like the devoted husband everyone believed I was. On the inside, I felt like I was bleeding with every word. That night, after everyone left and the dishes were done, my wife thanked me for making the dinner so special for her parents. She said she felt lucky to have someone who understood the value of family. I smiled back, but inside I knew exactly what I needed to do next. The next morning, while she slept in, I drove to my office with a clarity I had never felt before. My first call was to my attorney, the one who had handled my business contracts for years. I told her everything, and she connected me to the best divorce attorney she knew. By the afternoon, I was sitting across from a lawyer who specialized in protecting assets, and we began to put together a plan that would change the game completely. The words hit me harder than any physical blow ever could have. For a moment, I stood frozen in that hallway, the napkins still in my hand, my heart pounding so loudly that I was afraid they might hear it through the door. My wife's sister let out a shocked little laugh, asking her if she really meant what she had just said. And that's when my wife confirmed it without hesitation, her voice calm, confident, and almost proud. She said that I was never the man she wanted, that I was simply the man she needed to get to where she dreamed of being. According to her, I was the safe choice, the steady income, the responsible husband who would pay the bills and build her the lifestyle she desired until she was ready to upgrade to someone more exciting and worthy of her time. She spoke about me as if I were nothing more than a temporary investment, a bridge to cross over until she reached the destination she truly wanted. Every word drove deeper into me, shattering the image of the woman I thought I knew, the marriage I believed in, and the life we had built together. I wanted to burst through the door, confront her, and demand to know how long she had felt this way. But something stopped me. Maybe it was shock, maybe it was pain, or maybe it was a sudden cold clarity that told me this was bigger than an argument. This was betrayal at its core. If I stormed in, all I would get were denials, excuses, and fake tears. But if I stayed silent, I could watch, plan, and turn her own schemes against her. And so, I backed away quietly, my hands trembling but my mind beginning to spin with possibilities. That moment of restraint marked the beginning of a different chapter in my life. One where I was no longer the fool she thought I was, but the man who would take back control piece by piece until the final blow came crashing down on her. For days after that night, I played my role perfectly. I smiled at her, I kissed her cheek, I helped host the dinner, and I pretended I knew nothing. But inside, I was already crafting my exit, my revenge, and my freedom. Quietly, I began gathering documents, securing finances, and meeting with a lawyer who specialized in protecting husbands from exactly this kind of situation. My wife thought she was being clever, but she had no idea that every bank statement, every message, and every call was already being copied and stored safely away. I waited patiently, because timing is everything when you are dealing with someone who believes they are smarter than you. Then, on her parents' actual anniversary, while she was busy toasting to family, love, and loyalty, I slid a neatly sealed envelope across the table to her. She opened it, expecting some grand gesture, but instead found divorce papers, evidence of her own words recorded, and a legal strategy that left her with nothing more than the clothes on her back. Her face went pale, the room fell silent, and her parents looked at her with disbelief and shame. That was the moment she realized that the stepping stone she planned to walk over had turned into a wall that she could never climb again. I stood, smiled calmly, and said only one thing before leaving that house forever. You wanted an upgrade. Consider this my gift to you. And with that, I walked away, never looking back, free at last from a woman who had mistaken my love for weakness and my kindness for blindness. Like and subscribe for more stories of betrayal, justice, and sweet revenge.